Welcome back, everyone. We are Cats in Camo, and we are picking up where we left off last time with our Black Ops Recon.
What we're doing is we have 9 targets, 7 different targets, but we're going to double tap the 2 big guys. So we're going to start on the left. We're going to put 2 on the torso, and then those still mostly fluorescent green zombies, we're going to knock each one of those heads down and then put 2 more into the big guy on the right. He's just lurking there, barely in camera. So 9 shots. And again, since I'm not the expert that many people on the internet are, I have 10 rounds because I need to make at least 9 of them. So we're going to check out the Para Black Ops Recon in 45 ACP. Sending them downrange now. So Allie's going to take this Para and she's going to do her modified steel challenge. She's going to shoot the 2 milk jugs that are now filled with water so we don't offend the Dairy Association. Then she's going to shoot the grape soda bottle because we don't care about the Grape Soda Association apparently. Then the 2 cans of generic cola. And finally she's going to shoot what's become her new favorite, is raiding my medicine cabinet and stealing my shaving cream. So she's going to blow that up with the Para. If it works for her. If she decides she doesn't like it, maybe I'll finally get to shoot this course. Okay, loaded, not chambered.
Yeah! Alright, everyone, we're back in the studio here with our Para Black Ops Recon, ready to give a final review on it.
We have 8 categories to gauge its effectiveness on, and we're going to start with comfort of grip. I have large hands. I'm 6'7" and a double stack 1911. It's like they made it for me. The G10 grips cut a little bit aggressively. I'm going to give this a 4.
For me, this gun was a little bit big, and it wasn't the most comfortable thing that we've reviewed, at least for me and my size of hands. But it did seem fair, accurate, decent, so I just gave it a 3 out of 5.
Next up, we're going to talk about the sights. These are Novak style Trigicon night sights. They come standard on this gun. It's not an upgrade. It's how it comes straight from the factory. Glowy dots. These are good sights. They're easy to pick up during daylight. They work really well for night shooting. I'm giving them a 4 as well.
The sights for me, still learning about what's really good and what's bad. All the sights for me seem to do their job. So a 3 out of 5 is the best I can give it because it just seemed average.
Let's talk about the trigger a little bit. The trigger on the Black Ops Recon is nice. It's crisp. It's not a hair trigger, but it's a very clean trigger. The gun doesn't go off accidentally unless you have a bee crawling on your arm. I'm going to give the trigger a 5.
For me, I liked this trigger better than some of the other guns that we've shot. It seemed to, I guess with that whole single action as opposed to pulling back, seemed to meet my expectations, but that was as far as it went. It didn't, once again, I'm sticking at my 3 out of 5s.
Let's go to perceived recoil. This gun, I feel, does an above average job for that. Being the commander length, the 4¼ inch barrel, it still has a little bit more recoil than say the full-size government. But I'm still going to give it a 4. It's an above average gun for taming the recoil.
For me, I don't have a lot of muscle mass either, so I'm short and I'm weak. This gun had a lot of kick to it. I was expecting a big kick because it is a 45. It did knock me back a couple times. I had to get used to it and try to find a way to plant my feet better. So for me, I wouldn't pick this gun up and use it as much.
Right.
2 out of 5 is what I'm going to give it.
Let's talk about accuracy with the gun. And I'm going to give this a 4 on accuracy. It goes where you point it and shoots very well.
The hardest thing for me on this one is the 2 different courses that I shot. When I shot the basic course with just the paper figures, it didn't feel as accurate to me. My hands got really, really shaky at one point. But when I shot my course with the water jugs and the soda
And my shaving cream.
and your shaving cream, I was 6 out of 6.
Yes, you
on
were.
that.
You shot
I mean,
this as
bam, bam, bam,
as
bam.
well as anything.
So it kind of almost averages out where I didn't do good at the basic. I felt very uncomfortable, but I felt like a badass in the other one. So it averages out to a 3 out of 5.
Let's talk ease of reload. The magazine release button is very clean. It's easy to get to, and it's machined properly. It's very positive. You push the button, the magazine drops clear, and with the double stack magazine, that means once again it's beveled to feed the one round into the chamber, and that bevel makes for a really easy reload. And because of that, I'm going to give it a 4. I'd actually give it a 5 on that if it were flared just a little bit to make that a little bit easier. And then also when this is loaded out to capacity, it's much more difficult to get that solid reset. You really have to push. But we're going to go with a 4.
It did seem average. It seemed to work properly. It didn't seem to have any problems. I could see myself using it in that regard. Again,
Sure.
Easy to reload, but nothing super easy or super fast for me. Again, it's a bigger gun. I've got smaller hands, so I did have to put it at a 3 out of
Sure.
5.
All right, let's talk about reliability. This gun ran really clean to start with, but it did end up with a couple bugs where it had failures to eject completely. And for that matter, I'm going to just consider it basically a standard on 1911. So I'm going to give it a 3.
I have a pattern for this gun, and it seems to be 3s, and that's unfortunately what I got to give it again. I don't like to compare with other guns necessarily because I don't feel that's necessarily fair, but at the same time it's hard not to when you have tried other guns and you know
Sure.
I picked this one over that one. This gun for reliability, I think it could do the job, but is it my first pick? No. So I think a 3 out of 5 is the best that I can give it. So it's a decent gun, it can do the job, but again, not my first pick.
All right, our last category is ease of maintenance. This one normally requires a wrench. You watched me do this earlier with the tool where you have to turn the bushing to take the gun apart. It's time consuming, and all 1911s are on that. So when I score this as a 2, that it's less than average, the reason why I'm doing that is the bushing on the front, it's actually a little bit, forgive me, I'm going to aim this slightly this way. This can't be done by hand. You pretty much need the tool or a screwdriver. And for me, to get an average score, it needs to be something you can take down by hand easily. And the gun needs the tool, and for that reason, I'm giving it a 2.
I would actually have to agree with you on that. When I watched you take it apart, it did seem very time-consuming, something that couldn't be done fast, that you really needed to like block off some time to do this. And it just seemed like it wasn't very efficient. So yeah, I would have to give it 2 out of 5 as well.
So if you tally up our scores, I gave it a 30. Overall, I really like this gun.
overall, I didn't like this gun. My total score was actually at 22.
Well, so if you combine them and average them together, because you have a novice shooter with small hands and an experienced shooter with large hands, and for this gun, the hand size is actually relevant. If you add the two scores together and divide them, we average out to a 26, which means overall we still liked it. It was an above average gun. And that's important when you're considering that it's an expensive gun. The manufacturer suggested retail price on this is $12.99.
Oh,
That's Allie's going, I paid for my first 3 cars for less than that. It's an expensive gun, and it's also a very rare gun. It's difficult to get. The Black Ops Recon is not just readily available. You can't watch this video and then call your FFL and say, hey, give me 2 of these, 1 for each hand, because it's not going to happen. This is a very limited gun, and we're very fortunate to have this one, and we're going to keep shooting it. I am.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you all so much for stopping by today, and if you enjoyed watching this video, aim those crosshairs at the like button down below, and stay tuned for more gun reviews coming up soon. See you then.